Saturday night football in South Carolina. For a couple of teams that sit south of 500, they need to win tonight or else they'll see their season go south in the final couple of weeks of season 21. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Robert Smalls Memorial Stadium in Charleston, South Carolina, alongside our A-plus stats team, Zach Haldorf and Ron Haynes, and my partner, John Warren, with Commissioner, Producer Extraordinaire Cameron Irvine working hard behind the scenes. I'm Tim Hackett. You are watching Simulation Football League presented by APM Music live on YouTube. Happy to have you with us, and happy to have you with us, John. Welcome to the team, and welcome to South Carolina. Pivotal matchup for these two teams. They both got losing records right now, but a win tonight will help them keep pace in what looks to be a packed center of the SFL standings.
Yeah, the low country is still psyched about this Charleston Predators team, even though it is a vexing team. 4-5, they're fighting for 500, yet they're 6 on offense in offensive yards, 6 on defensive yards allowed. This is a pretty good team, all things considered, except for that record. So hopefully they can, win out. That log jam is going to be something to look at. I just can't wait for this game.
It's so easy to scoreboard watch in the SFL, John, because games happen so often. You know that Charleston and their crew have been watching how other games have been going on this week. Carolina lost last night. DC lost less than an hour ago. Both of those teams are now 5-5. Charleston comes into tonight at 4-5. If the Preds win, they would also be 5-5, and there would be a three-way tie for second in the Atlantic Division. But on the other side, for Motor City, they're 4-6. They're reeling right now, but a win for the V8s will help to keep their season alive. It is not over yet, with 3 weeks of the regular season still to play. The Predators will get the ball first at home. That's rookie Ricky Spider on the return, and Charleston will start off from the 30-yard line. Well, the Preds are certainly on a hot streak. They have won 3 of their last 4 games, including a 23-14 win last week over Louisiana, a bit of a statement win for Charleston, and that has shot them back up very much into the playoff picture. 14th in the SFL standings before action started this week in what will be a 12-team playoff. John Lakeman, second season quarterback, fires over the middle and right between the hash marks. Lakeman looking for Brian Murphy, the tight end, and it falls incomplete. Here is the offense for Charleston and head coach Jacob Clear. You just heard from quarterback John Lakeman. Saren Storm and Nick Hoagland are the halfbacks. Terrell Sutherland is the fullback. Wide receivers, Honus Adobe, Davius Reed, Benjamin Warner, and Ricky Spider. Tight ends, Lion Trees, Romeo June, and Brian Murphy. I'll tell you about the offensive line here in a moment. 3 wides for John Lakeman. And now he'll fire over the center of the field, and that is caught by Davius Reed. That's exactly what they were trying to do on the previous play. That time it works. Davius Reed with a pickup of 13 on the second play from scrimmage. Here is the offensive line for the Preds. Tackles DeBrickashaw Molyneux and LaMarcus Jamarcus. Guards Leroy James and Finley James. And center Saint Nebuchadnezzar.
I was here for last week's game. Davius Reed had a huge game, so it's good to get him going.
The Preds really reworked this roster on both sides of the ball, and Davius Reed, one of 9 newcomers on offense for Jacob Clear and the general managing staff here for the Preds in season 21. First run of the day, Nick Hoagland tries to get outside, breaks a tackle and gets to the right sideline, stepping out of bounds just short of the sticks, and a strong run to start things off for Charleston.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of start that they need. Quick start they did not really get last week, but it's good to start on the right foot for Charleston.
I was going to ask you what you got to seeing the Preds in person last week against a solid Louisiana team. It's my first time seeing them in person this season. I'll ask you what stood out to you after this play. We've got 2nd and inches. The TV lines are just barely overlapping. I formation for John Lakeman with a couple of tight ends to the left. The give is to Nick Hoagland, and Hoagland barrels up the middle for a first down. So Charleston with that win last week over Louisiana, John, to move to 4-5, and they look pretty good.
They did, and I mean, they queued me up perfectly. I was going to say Nick Hoagland was great last week against Louisiana, and I think getting him going early takes some pressure off of Lakeman, and that's going to be really important for him.
Yeah, unique backfield with 2 guys that were not always halfbacks in this league. Here is Hoagland trying to run outside again, not this time. Nice tackle out there by Terrence Pearson, off-season pickup for the V8s, formerly of Jacksonville, and it'll be a TFL for Pearson on the first defensive possession for Motor City.
Yeah, this is my first time actually seeing a Motor City game, or calling one, I should say, and it'll be interesting to see how this defense responds to Lakeman and Hoagland.
I've had the opportunity to see them a couple of times over the last few seasons, and as Will outlined, this is about as unique of a team as it gets in the SFL. In many ways, Hoagland has nothing doing. Rodney Panani, outside linebacker, on the stop, so a loss of 1 on 2 straight plays for Hoagland after his first run went for 9, and the first third down opportunity for Charleston. Bunch set tight to the left side of the formation on 3rd and 11. John Lakeman sets and throws. First down over the center of the pitch once again. Honus Odobe with the catch.
Honus Odobe really came on late in the game last week, had a couple of really, really big grabs. And Lakeman was really good at distributing the ball last week, and he's getting a few guys involved early, which I think is going to be important for this offense to get into some sort of rhythm.
Let me correct something I said earlier. Davies Reed is actually one of the few holdovers on this Charleston offense. This is his 3rd season in the league, 12th total third season on the team, 12th total season in the league. Former LA Lycan and Chicago Wildcat. Lakeman, one-handed catch, what a snag by Brian Murphy. It's the first drive of the game, but we got to do it. That's the nice hands catch brought to you by Retroid. Put a Retroid handheld in your hands and play the only video game with your player in it, SFL 4K23. Welcome to the show, Brian Murphy.
God, what a grab. And, you knew he was going to take a hit, but big, strong man, Brian Murphy, reeled it in. Big first down.
Lakeman has completed 3 passes. They've gone to 3 different receivers, and they've all been for a dozen yards or more. That one going for 16 to Murphy. Latest of the 3. Lakeman will throw again, and a one-headed catch by Davies Reed. That one was just about as good. And Charleston is cooking on its first drive.
God, Davies Reed's got some of the strongest hands in the league, and he just showed him off here again through the middle. He's been so tough in the middle of the past couple of weeks. Got down to, well, what about the 2-yard line there? So they're in business.
That was also the nice hands catch brought to you by Retroid.
We're going to keep it going. We're going to keep spinning it up every few plays.
See if Charleston can make it 3 in a row. 1st and goal from inside the 2. They'll take it any way they can get it at this point. How about this opening drive? Offset eye. Nick Hoagland battles through and is stopped short of the goal line. Nice tackle by a couple of V8s, including King Rashid, former defensive standout.
Yeah, King Rashid was there for the stop, and you could just tell Hoagland wanted it, kept his legs moving, but they drove it back.
Got about 1.5 yards. Less than half a yard now from the end zone. Offset eye again. 1 receiver out, and now they will flex fullback Terrell Sutherland out wide. He had a big game last week, too.
Yeah, he did.
Handoff, diving, touchdown, Charleston. Hoagland would not be denied that time, and the Preds go all the way down the field and score on their first drive.
Yeah, I think Hoagland just decided, I got stood up last time. I'm just going to go over everyone, and let's just remove that part of the equation. Fast start for Charleston here. It's probably what they needed against a Motor City team that's really trying to get back to a winning situation, because they've lost 4 in a row, which is tough.
Well, you can't go around it, can't go through it, can't go under it. Might as well go over it if you're going to go. Second time's the charm, and after Charleston, John, they march down the field. You see 71 yards on 11 plays. Most of that damage done in the air. 4 double-digit passes from Lakeman to 3 different receivers, but at the end of the day, it's Hoagland that punches it in, his 11th rushing touchdown of the season.
Yeah, Lakeman kind of went into the past couple weeks kind of shaky. Interceptions still more than touchdowns. Completion percentage not in the top 10 of the league, but he's looked really good the past couple weeks.
His team throws it more than just about anybody in the league. Here's a great return from Motor City. More on that later. Guy Clausen out to the right sideline and forced out of bounds by the kicker, Brad Breckett, right at midfield. A spark plug from Guy Clausen to kickstart the V8s.
Well, it's pretty much the best response you can have, right? I mean, special teams is such an important part of this game. Charleston just marches right down the field. Defense probably feeling a little weird. Hey, Clausen's going to say, shake it off. Let's get out there. Let's do something with this drive, and let's start at midfield. It's great field position for Michael Brown.
No kidding. And Motor City has actually been one of the best kick returning teams in the league this season. They're number 1 in total yards, and their average starting field position is their own 31-yard line, which is 4th best in the league. They'll start their first possession of this game on Charleston's 49-yard line. So plus 20 yards from their average, which is already really good. And now a look at, as I said earlier, John, I think the most unique team in the SFL, the Motor City V8s. They have 2 quarterbacks on the roster. They have 2 tailbacks, but they're both fullbacks. They don't have any halfbacks. They have 4 wide receivers, 3 tight ends, 3 on the offensive line. No team is built like this, and that makes them extremely unpredictable. That was Christopher Dean on the first carry, and there's a running back. There's a wide receiver run through Shane Kaufman, which we've seen a couple of times this year.
Yeah, the play calling is going to have to be unique with this kind of roster, and that's, I think, the most exciting part of this team. It's uniqueness. There are a lot of different ways they can attack you. Sometimes that has a downside, but it's very exciting.
I think that is about as fair of a way to sum it up as possible. They will run it with Shane Kaufman. He's a wide receiver straight up run with 2 fullbacks paving the way. And Charleston was ready for it. Sophomore outside linebacker Gino McFly with the hit, and it's 4th down. Well, it was a carry for Christopher Dean to start, and then 2 carries for Shane Kaufman. Again, he's their number 1 wide receiver, at least in name only on this drive. And the V8 start this drive on the 49 of Charleston, and they go 3 and out. That's insane.
Yeah, that's the kind of a squandered opportunity that, when you look at a team with a 4-6 record, you go, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you squander drives like that, that's kind of what you end up with. But hopefully they can shake it off and try again. But they got to stop Charleston first.
I love the SFL chat sometimes. Yes, the Motor City offense has everything, including a partridge in a pear tree. Absolutely. But on that first possession, they have just 7 yards and a 3 and out. Nick Hoagland, who had the rushing touchdown, is stymied by David Leathers. Here's the Motor City defense for Andrew O'Reilly. On the line are Doug Howard, Dakota Butts, Nick Brummer, and Mike Balott. Linebackers Matthew Halford and Rodney Panani. Corners Mark Kaufman, Terrence Pearson, and King Rashid. Safeties David Leathers, Nicholas Warner, and Kane Vasquez. Lakeman is going to tuck it and run. Running room for Lakeman, and he slides at the sticks. They'll spot him shorts. How about that from John Lakeman? You don't see that very often.
No, you don't. In fact, I don't think I saw that a single time in their game against Louisiana, but he took off here. That's a tough spot, but 3rd and inches. We're going to try to, I would bet my paycheck that this is going to Hoagland.
Half my salary says it's a dive by Nick Hoagland. Well, half of my salary in the SFL is still 0, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly.
And Nick Hoagland is, he's going to get more than 0. He's going to get about 4, and that will be enough to move the 6.
Yeah, he found a good hole in that line. That line really opened that up for him. That actually is pretty much the best looking hole that he's gotten so far. But tough running from Nick Hoagland. They got the 1st down.
This is such a unique offense. Again, 2 tailbacks, Nick Hoagland and Saren Storm. Neither of them started their careers as tailbacks in this league. Lakeman will throw it. Brian Murphy with another jumping basket catch in the elbow. This is insane. What are the Preds doing?
Murphy's got a glue trap taped to the inside of his arm. That is absolutely ridiculous. That's his 2nd one-handed catch of the game. I think he had another one last week, so he's really balling out. He leads this team in touchdown receptions. He's really huge in the red zone for Lakeman.
That's the nice hands catch brought to you by Retroid. It's a Groundhog Day, apparently, here in South Carolina. 3 times in the first quarter. Lakeman looking to do it again and swatted on its way. Benjamin Warner was the target, but it did not get through. Matthew Halford, the linebacker, got his hand up and it potted away.
Yeah, he leads this team in passes defense. So that's Matthew Holford is so good at getting his hands up in the line of sight of his quarterbacks, of opposing quarterbacks, and saw it there.
Started his career as a defensive lineman, now a linebacker, his 5th total season with the team that drafted him. Here's the first carry for somebody not named Nick Hoagland, and Saren Storm with the grab. Hoagland has really kind of taken the reins over the last few weeks, John. He's got twice as many carries this year as Storm does, more than twice, in fact. But Saren gets 5 in his first tote.
Yeah, Nick Hoagland is so good in short yard situations, but he started to come on just in every single facet of the game. So it's been nice to see his development.
3rd and 5 for Charleston. Lakeman has his offensive lineman fall into him, and his pass is still caught by Honus Adobe. Lamarcus Jamarcus was bull rushed right into Lakeman, but he did not care. One-on-one win for Adobe. First down, Charleston.
Yeah, that was a great one-on-one, man-on-man victory for Adobe there. You saw the hand fighting. You saw the great route run to get inside and get open for his quarterback and moving the sticks. This offense looks great tonight so far.
No question about that. 2 minutes left in the first quarter. Preds driving again. Lakeman cocks and fires, and that time he gets the completion. Benjamin Warner. They were going for him 2 plays ago. It didn't work. That time it does. Another double-digit catch for a Pred receiver.
Yeah, Warner's the other piece here. It's Davius Reed, it's Warner. That's really the two-headed monster that Motor City's really got to watch out for. They've gotten Honus Adobe involved early, which I think is good, but Warner's going to heat up soon.
4 different receivers have catches of 10-plus yards, 12-plus yards to be precise, in this first quarter. Lakeman really airing it out. Second in the league in both completions and attempts this season, John Lakeman, in his second season in the league. Hoagland spinning outside, gets out of a tackle somehow, and gets near the 20-yard line, pushed out there by Kane Vasquez. How did he turn that into a gain of 5?
Well, that's how he's kind of gained that starting spot, that main featured back spot. He's so good in those short yardage situations, break tackles and break through. He's been better in every facet, like I mentioned, but yeah, that you saw kind of what got him in this position on that run.
Charleston has been much more of a passing team than a running team this season, but so far tonight they've been very balanced, and why not? What Nick Hoagland is doing all the way down to the 12-yard line, bruising run.
Yeah, he lowered his shoulder here too. I don't know about you, Tim. I don't think I'd like to be on the receiving end of one of those lowered shoulders. I think I'm good up here in the booth.
Well, he's a former fullback, and like we said, he's moved down there. Saren Storm's a former wide receiver. They're both halfbacks this year, and Terrell Sutherland gets to keep his previous role as the fullback, and he's been busy paving the way.
Yeah.
11 total runs, including that scramble by Lakeman. Here's Storm, nothing doing. Pile drive back for a loss of 1. That is Rodney Panani on the hits.
Clamping down a little bit here, maybe a little bit predictable with his run calls, but I think Charleston's just trying to get some balance. They were so pass heavy with that first drive. They've tried to get a little more balance in this one.
So 13 total run attempts, 9 total pass attempts for Charleston over its first 2 possessions. Again, very pass-heavy team. Lakeman will pass, and it's out of the hands of Matthew Halford. We just talked about him not able to haul it in, but he does get 2 hands to it.
Yeah, there's no one better on this team than getting their hands up than Holford. And God, he almost had an interception there. He's had 2 this season. That would have been his 3rd and would have come at a great time. But there's a reason he's on this side of the ball.
I was going to say, Brian Murphy doesn't even need 2 hands. He needs 1. Halford couldn't haul it in with both hands, but that is how it goes sometimes. That is Murphy in motion. It's now 3 to the bottom on another 3rd down and long. Charleston's been great on these so far today. Lakeman, he'll throw it short, and Hoagland makes the catch. And Halford, we were just kind of trashing him a little bit. Wasn't able to haul in the interception, but he will stop Hoagland for a gain of 1. And that's Charleston's first 3rd down failure of the game.
Yeah, Lakeman must not have seen anything downfield, so he went with that check down, kind of a safe play. Hey, let's just kick the field goal play. I don't hate it. It's better than to force something, but kind of a head scratcher there. So I guess Brad Bretchett's going to come on and try to get this one after the quarter.
At end of the first quarter, Charleston looking good. Motor City with a 3 and out, and that's it. In the first quarter, the Preds lead it 7-0. You're watching the SFL presented by APM Music live on YouTube. Kind of an unceremonious end to that first quarter, I think, if you're a Preds fan, but they will have the chance to tack on some points alongside John Warren. I'm Tim Hackett. Thanks for joining us here in Charleston, South Carolina. Brad Breckett, team veteran, nails it, no problem on the first play of the second quarter. The Preds pad the lead. It's 10-0.
Yeah, he hasn't missed this year, and that was, I won't say a chip shot. I certainly couldn't do it, but definitely within Breckett's range. So yeah, that's 10-0 Charleston. They've got to feel pretty good about that. They wanted to probably come away with 6 on that last drive. They were so dominant in that first one, it just kind of fizzled out for them. Motor City did a good job clamping down when it mattered.
I agree with you that it was kind of an interesting play call on 3rd and 11. Charleston had converted its first 3 third downs, and they ended up getting a 1-yard completion on 3rd and 11 and had to settle for a field goal, but they do hit it, and it is 10-0. Again, Charleston was 3 of its first 3. That was its first failure, and after Guy Clausen got out to midfield on the first return of the day, fair catch and a kneel down to touchback for Motor City, Johan Sutherland. And the V8s will start their second drive from the 20. So it all evens out. Remember, their average about 30. They start about there on the 30-yard line, and that's about where they will average after their first 2 possessions. Christopher Dean with the carry here, and that is how Motor City will start off its second possession. Here's the offense for the V8s. Ibrahim Krieta and Michael Brown are the quarterbacks. Bill Cherry, Christopher Dean, the fullbacks. Wide receivers, Shane Kaufman, Noe Terrazas, Guy Clausen, and Johan Sutherland. And we'll get to the rest of them in a minute because there are a lot of people to talk about. Michael Brown's first pass attempt is hauled in. Nice catch by Guy Clausen. We just talked about him, had that big kick return. The tight ends, there's 3 of them, Azami Mahata, Phil Koss, and Julian Gusters. In the offensive line, tackles, Bill and Phil McMillan, and center, John Smith. Motor City went 3 and out on its first possession. And this is a standard formation. 3 in the backfield with Michael Brown under center. Brown will throw, drops back, zips it over the seam, and it's just out of the reach of his target, Noe Terrazas, who set the world on fire in the first couple of weeks in the season, has cooled off. He couldn't get into him, and it's another 4th down.
Yeah, another 3 and out. They went for more conventional play calling in this one, which I think makes a little sense, not to get too cute with the play calling so early on, but still another 3 and out, and that's tough for Motor City.
Seeing Charleston move down the field with relative ease twice, John, and then Motor City gains a total of what, 15 yards on its first 2 possessions?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you mentioned the new center, John Smith, for the Motor City V8s. Number 3 pick in the draft. They're really hoping to get that line some real stability. Bill and Phil McMillan, obviously, at the tackle positions. That interior needs to be more solid. Michael Brown's had a decent pocket here. He hasn't been super pressured, but just hasn't been super accurate with his throws.
Unfortunately, none of the V8s were really firing on all cylinders yet on offense. Facing a 10-0 deficit early. Strong toss. Saren Storm into space. It gets stuck at the end of it by Halford, but still a nice gain on 1st down.
Yeah, Dakota Butts almost met him out on Kiowa Island back there. But instead, Saren Storm ran past him and got a decent gain. That was almost a disaster play for Charleston.
As a Carolina native, I love the geography lesson. Very well done, sir. Very well done. Like we said, Lakeman has had an up and down season. He's 2nd in the league in both comps and attempts. He passes the ball 35 times per game, and he's 4th in yards, but he's only thrown 11 touchdowns, which is bottom half of the league, and he's thrown 15 interceptions, which is one of the highest totals in the league. Hoagland gets 1, Halford again on the stop. It's just been a strange season, but he's a sophomore quarterback in his first season with this franchise, so you imagine there will be some growing pains.
He's gotten much more comfortable, though, the past couple of weeks, though, I feel like.
And I think that is all that you can expect and all that you can hope. This team has really risen to the task in the last half of the season. Strong toss to Hoagland this time, and Hoagland able to lower the shoulder and get the 1st down. Not the first time that we said that tonight.
No, it's a good formula. I mean, Motor City, I think they're 2nd in the league in 1st downs. I mean, they're just good at moving the 6, keeping plays, keeping drives alive. And a big part of that is Hoagland.
Charleston has given up the most sacks in the league, 19 through 9 games. Lakeman has not seen a lot of pressure at all. Oh, nearly threw that one away. He's going for Murphy, and Nick Warner with the coverage for Motor City, not able to feed it into Murphy's right elbow.
And that's just one of those plays that, Lakeman will make a few of those a game. Just kind of passes that you're like, wow, I guess he thought he could squeeze it in there, but and that's why his interception totals are so high. Like you said, 2nd-year man.
Second down for Lakeman. Another risky throw, but what a catch! Man, the Preds receivers have been on another level. That's Warner with his second catch.
Yeah, on the flip side, when you have receivers that are going out on limb in traffic, one-handing it, you start to get the confidence to say, hey, I can fit this in there. Whatever window looks like is not opening up, there's actually a small window there for these receivers, and so far it's worked out for them.
Yeah, literally on a limb. There's only one limb that's needed. 4 one-armed catches by 3 different receivers. I've never seen that before in this league.
Yeah.
Receivers bailing out Lakeman. I think it's fair to say. It's not like he's played poorly, don't get me wrong, but all these catches.
No. Yeah, absolutely.
Slightly more traditional run this time, and a great stop by the Motor City defense. Dakota Butts hits Hoagland 2 yards back.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, Lakeman had been airing it out so much on that first drive. They've really slowed things down. And, once you have a lead and once you see that Motor City's not really moving the ball, kind of that shift makes a little bit of sense. But we'll see if they get back to the passing game here.
Charleston has not been a dynamic running team this year. They average only 3.5 yards per carry as a team this season, which is bottom half of the league. But I wonder if they'll lean on it here. They will go Hoagland's way again, and maybe a gain of 2. David Leathers on that hit.
This will be a really interesting play call. They're kind of in this weird no man's land. 3rd and 10. They got to get some yards here to at least attempt a field goal. They've had some interesting 3rd and long play calls so far in this game.
Breckett hit from 30 yards out earlier. You need a little bit to get in safely into his range, you would think. Lakeman's going to go even further and overcooks everybody. 2 receivers there, and that's really the first mistake, I think, from Lakeman in this game. It's 4th down.
Yeah, he overthrew. Hey, I don't know which receiver he was looking at, but if he overthrew both of them, they would have had to have a rocket up their butt to get that one, but didn't happen for Lakeman. So they're bringing the punt unit out.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised by this.
I am
John.
too.
Ball's at what there you go. You're spotted at the 34, so it would have been a 51-yard kick from Breckett. And so
makeable for Breckett.
Agreed,
yeah,
but
that's makeable for Breckett. That's interesting.
Still, even in this new era of the SFL, not every team invests in punters. Charleston does. It's Eric Blueberry in his 2nd season with the team, and that's honestly kind of a loss for Charleston. It's a net of just 14 as the punt sails into the end zone.
Yeah, Blueberry actually had an outstanding game last week against Louisiana, pinning him deep a few times, but that was not his best.
I remembered you saying that when I watched the game live, and yeah, I was looking forward to seeing him on this one, but yeah, again, just a net of 14 on Blueberry's first action of the day. First time Charleston failed to score. Good stop by Motor City. Brown will give it to Christopher Dean. And Dean with a surging run forward for a gain of 6. Before we get too far out of hand, here's the defense for Charleston. On the line, it's Thomas Matthews, Anthony Robertson, John Lawley, and Robert Cherry. Linebackers, Jack Brown, the holdover, Mo John Tana, Gino McFly, and Khalil Thomas. And 7 standouts in the secondary. We're going to need a whole other play to introduce them. Do that after this. Here's the give, and absolutely blown up. Nothing doing on that one for Kaufman. They run it to their wide receiver again, John, and Jack Brown with the hit in the backfield.
Yeah, this play calling is not doing rookie Michael Brown any favors. I don't really get this game plan, but we'll see what they dial up on 3rd and 3.
They will run it again. It's Kaufman again. Shane Kaufman flexes outside, but can't get through Jack Brown. One of the best linebackers in this league in his 9th season with Charleston. And Kaufman, again, he's a wide receiver. He has done this before this season for the V8s, but unfortunately for them, it is their 3rd 3-and-out of the night.
I think that play calling is a little bit of a disservice to this roster. I can elaborate on that in a second after this punt.
And Motor City does not have a standout punter. That's not a bad punt, all things considered. Fair catch called for by Ricky Spider.
I think, you're handing the ball off to Shane Kaufman, who's a perfectly good receiver. He's got a couple touchdowns this year. He's averaging almost 15 yards a catch, but he's not trained to run behind blockers like Bill Cherry and Christopher Dean are. It makes sense to me to just get some more traditional stuff going, I think.
I'm with you. Again, I saw them do that earlier this season, but it was kind of an exotic change of pace, if you will. Saren Storm gets a gain of a couple. And it was, mid stages of a game. They kind of broke out the wide receiver run just kind of as a different look, but the run game was working extremely well in that game. And again, this is just one example. We know how much things change week to week in the SFL, especially these days. You can change 100% of your playbook from week to week if you want, but they've kept the play in or at least put it back as Lakeman has it picked off. Matthew Halford makes the catch that time out to the sideline. Lakeman will push him out of bounds. Halford gets Lakeman that time, and Motor City will have 1st and goal.
How many times have we called his name? I mean, he's gotten his hands up. Eventually, if this guy touches the ball enough, he's going to catch one and take it back, and he took it back almost 30 yards. Holford, absolutely the player of the game, individual effort-wise so far. I don't know where Motor City is without Holford's effort in this game. That is an incredible play.
3rd career interception for the former defensive lineman. And Motor City, who has one of the best average starting field positions in the league, will start off their
This is a good one.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better from the Charleston 18. Second time they've started across midfield. Failed to score, obviously, on their first. Here's a run to Bill Cherry, and finally, Cherry has his first carry of the day. He's been out-carried by Shane Kaufman to this point in the game. Not something I expected to say.
Yeah, the same. Starting field position is great, but they've got to actually move the ball. They're not going to win this game with field goals. They've got to get into the end zone here.
Completely agreed. Loss of 1 for Cherry on his first totes.
Oh.
The throw from Brown behind his target. That was Noe Terrazas. Let's get you the rest of the Charleston defense while we have a second. The secondary, Mark Martin, J.W. Hartshorn, Corey Menner. Safeties, Matt Ryan, Sam Blotner, John Stamengo, and rookie Guy Incognito. So there you go. There's your full rosters for both teams.
I have
3rd and 11.
Go ahead,
Joe. Sorry.
I was going to say, I have high hopes for Michael Brown here. He's a really talented-looking rookie, but he's got to start making some better reads.
They've really changed the offense up for him. At the start of the season, he was throwing the ball all the time, but there have been some games where he's barely thrown it at all. Last week, he attempted just 13 passes and completed 8. Here he goes on 3rd and 11, has a target, and a nice pass that time from Brown. Right on cue, John. Nice throw, nice catch. 1st down to Phil Koss.
Yeah, that looked more like it. Phil Koss ran a great route here to get open in the middle. Catches it in traffic. Doing right by a rookie quarterback. Now they're down at the 4-yard line. Hopefully they'll dial something up here and get to the end zone.
There's some experience in this pass-catching group for Motor City.
For sure.
Almost all of them have been part of this new iteration of the franchise since the beginning. It's season 3 for Motor City under this brand identity, formerly, of course, St. Louis. 1st and goal, Brown to the end zone, and it's caught! Motor City takes advantage of the turnover, and another one of those veterans, Noe Terrazas, has the touchdown.
That's his 6th catch for a touchdown of the year. He is the number 1 guy for this Motor City offense, and wow, he looked great there. He knew he was going to get hit right in the chest, still held on to it. That was a great catch, and Motor City happy to come away with 6 here off of that massive interception from Matthew Holford.
In his first couple of weeks of the season, Terrazas was the top wide receiver in the league. He and Brown were clicking completely. It's kind of a less said about that, the better for a lot of things, especially for Motor City fans or maybe for Motor City not fans. But regardless, it worked extremely well for Terrazas and for Brown and to some extent for Motor City. But they've changed things up considerably since then. Terrazas is still top 15 in the league in both catches, yards, and total touchdowns. And as John said, that is touchdown number 6 for the former tight end from Sioux Falls. For the first time tonight, we got a game break. Let's check in with Cameron Irvine in the studio.
Thank you, Tim. Fort Worth unbeaten, though. Last remaining unbeaten in the league is at Portland tonight. Marcus Dunhill to Stephen Hacker, his 2nd touchdown. 3 possessions in this game, 3 touchdowns for these offenses. We may be in for a shootout in Portland. Back to you in Charleston.
That Fort Worth team is so good. I keep thinking I don't know who's going to beat them, but
I'm with you. That's a fantastic team run by fantastic people. That's the Stephen Hacker to you, Cameron Irvine. Charleston will start off this possession from the 30. Motor City does exactly what it needed to, John, and it took advantage of that takeaway by Matthew Halford, turning it into 7 from Noe Terrazas. What can the Preds do? They will run right into Matthew Halford again, testing him again. Got the first hit, and Hoagland picks up 3.
Yeah, I don't know if you just decide to say, hey, okay, Lakeman, let's hand the ball off. Let's get some rhythm here. Or you have him, hair the dog. Let's keep it going through the air. See if we can get something going again. But 3 yards on that carry. We'll see what happens.
Run it again with Hoagland. Right up the guts. And Nick Hoagland dragging a defender forward. Somehow, first down and a whole lot more. I think it was Leathers that was running behind him like a backpack.
Yeah, Hoagland's been quietly outstanding. He doesn't have the best yards per carry in this game, but he's got almost 50 yards, 16 carries, actually 54 yards. Scratch that. He's bringing some stability to this offense that definitely needs it after that costly interception.
Absolutely, and after that plunging run, helping to right the ship a little bit for the Preds. From the 46, there's a bit of a flip. It's not really a toss, it's a flip, and Motor City completely ready for that. Well, if David Leathers was a backpack on that previous one, I'm not sure what he was on that one, but he does pile drive for a loss of 2.
Yeah, I'm not sure you want to see 2 people in the backfield less than David Leathers and Matthew Holford, and Hoagland saw both.
Leathers a great player in this league for a while now. Tackle for loss of Hoagland, and we've reached the 2-minute warning in the first half. The V8 starting to rev it up, but the Preds still on top. 10-7. You're watching the SFL, presented by 8 p.m. Music on YouTube. Alongside Ron Haynes, Zach Holdorf, Cameron Irvine, John Warren, I'm Tim Hackett. Thanks for joining us. 2 minutes left in the first half. The Preds trying to extend their lead. They've led throughout so far in this game. Empty backfield for John Lakeman. Sees a blitz. Lakeman's pass is caught behind his target, but it is hauled in by Davius Reed, who made a couple of catches on Charleston's first drive. Gain of 6 there.
Yeah, they like using Davius Reed in the slot like that, and you can see why. He's so good at just getting open and quick, short pass situations, and good start to this series.
My correction, gain of 8 after the first play went for negative yards.
Yeah.
Now third and manageable for Charleston. Remember, they converted their first 3 of the game. Lakeman, sidearm sling this way, and underneath the target is Benjamin Warner, the former Portland Fleets, and Davius Reed's former teammate with the Chicago Wildcats, but not able to link up that time, and it's 4th down.
Yeah, there was a traffic jam there on the right side. I don't know if there was a busted route or just a weird pick there, but yeah, that did not get into Warner's hands, and we're going to have to punt. Feels like momentum shifted a little bit in Motor City's favor.
Couldn't agree more. Charleston was 3 of its first 3 on third downs, 1 of their last 4. Second straight punt for second-year punter Eric Blueberry, and that is more like it. A touchback on his first try, absolutely pinning the V8s back that time.
And that's what we saw a lot of last week. Blueberry pinning him deep, sometimes with a coffin corner. He had, I think, one of those. But usually with these high, booming punts, it kind of lulls the other team into thinking, okay, I might be able to return this. And then they usually get popped, just like they did there.
33 yards net on that punt, says Ron Haynes. A little bit better that time from Blueberry. V8s from their own 15. They've got all 3 timeouts, and there's a great throw from Brown to Phil Koss. They link up for the second time in the second quarter.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what kind of 2-minute drill they run here, minute and a half drill, 90-second drill. Phil Koss is a good start. He's had a couple of really nice catches this game. Tough to bring down, too.
No doubt. Clock still runs. You mentioned it. It was a 90-second drill, but now it's 60 seconds after only 1 play. Nice start. Gain of 17 for Koss. They will run it with Christopher Dean, and Dean runs into a pair of Preds, including Jack Brown.
I mean, I guess you don't want to just throw away your first half by getting careless and aggressive, but 4 and 6, you got to win out. You got to have help to get to the playoffs. I would think I would see a little more urgency here, but I mean, I guess they get the ball at the second half. So
A little bit more urgency there. First
There we
down
go.
for Noe Terrazas. There's the timeout for Motor City. First called by either team. But to your point, John, I mean, it's now or never for both of these teams. If you lose today, you're not mathematically done. Cameron Irvine, the league great, telling us before the game. But, I mean, let's face it, you're pretty much done. If Motor City loses, they're 4-7. They would have to win their final game to be 5-7 to even have a spitting chance. And 5-7 teams hardly ever make the playoffs in the SFL these days. Brown floats it up, caught by Phil Koss for a gain of 7. McFly on the hits. And Charleston on the other side, if they lose, they would also be 4-6 in what's a very tight division, but also a very, very bloated center of the playoff picture. There's not a lot of room for error, I don't think, for these two teams.
No, you're exactly right. Cameron was giving us so you're telling me there's a chance Lloyd Christmas Dumb and Dumber spiel earlier with Motor City, and they got to have some help, but they can still do it.
And there's some help for Brown. Nice catch by Phil Koss. Not quite a one elbow catch, but still able to haul it in out to the 34-yard line. One timeout left. There's the spike with 10 seconds left. Very, very well done by the V8s.
Yeah, I'm impressed by the composure that Browns had during this drive. It looked like they were just content to go into the half down by 3. They decided to turn a dial, and he's hit some really nice passes here to Phil Koss, who's 4 catches, 54 yards. He's having an outstanding first half.
Brown was 8 of 13 last week against Florida. He's 7 of his first 10 with a touchdown here tonight. 100 total yards last week against the Storm in a 30-10 loss. They will run it this time. Christopher Dean, pretty nice run for Dean. They'll give him 5, and that will force the V8s to use their final timeouts. This is a decision now for Andrew O'Reilly and company.
Yeah, I think they're happy to send Caleb Richards out and see if this goes. He's 10 for 11 this year, so good kicker. We'll see if this 46-yarder goes.
They will send out Caleb Richards for a 46-yard field goal. It's hooking, and it's no good as the clock runs out. Did it catch the upright on its way out?
I think it donked it on the way down. Look at the bottom corner here. Doink.
Yes.
Wow.
You're 100% right. Good eye. I thought it hit the corner of the upright. It finished just north of that. Either way, it's good for 0 for Motor City. And a team in a tailspin trying to snap a 4-game losing streak that close to tying things up at the end of the first half. Well,
yeah,
great first half, John.
It was. It was brisk. It was a brisk first half.
Yeah.
You know, Charleston looked so loose and so good in that opening drive. Things tightened up a little bit. That costly mistake from John Lakeman. We've just seen too many of those this season. That's really been, I think, the main difference maker between Charleston being on the other side of 500 versus where they are now. And on the other side, Motor City, they're pretty lucky to be only down by 3, but sometimes you have to have a good defensive player like Matthew Holford to turn things around for you. He is obviously the player of the half. I totally agree with this assessment. He's had 2 passes defense. He's had that interception. He's had a few tackles. He's just been everywhere for Motor City, and they're lucky to have him on that side of the ball.
Well, we mentioned it when it happened. Charleston's first 2 possessions looked about as good as you possibly can get. Now, they did have to settle for a field goal on the second, but in doing so, they looked very good, very efficient, a little bit flashy, sharing the rock, running and passing, but their lead was only 10-0, and since then, the offense has completely dried up. Motor City has started to excel on both sides. They got that interception leading to the touchdown, and it is a 3-point game in what is almost a must-win game for both of these teams. Forward progress gets Sutherland to the 30-yard line, and that is where we will start off the second half. We are live from Robert Smalls Memorial Stadium in Charleston, SC. Tim Hackett and John Warren in the booth. Ron Haynes and Zach Haldorf in the stat truck. Cameron Irvine in the studio. Thanks for joining us. Charleston 4-5. They are 4th in the Atlantic at the start of play this weekend, but they've seen a lot of things go their way. They need this result to go their way as well to stay in the mix of the playoffs. Motor City on the other side of the form spectrum. They have lost 4 straight games. None of them have been close. They need to win this game to have any sort of chance to get into the playoffs. But if they do win, they do very much have a chance to get into the playoffs. Rookie quarterback Michael Brown hits Christopher Dean in stride, and Dean, who is the halfback in name for this team, with a pickup of 5 to start off the second half.
Yeah, I've been in Charleston calling 2 these games past week. I have not had a bowl of shrimp and grits. Can we get some good low country catered food in the house? Cam, Commissioner.
Here's a run. Christopher Dean. Oh, he just sent somebody into the low country. That was John Stamengo. Hard to get the better of him, but Dean did. It's a first down. This is such a unique offense. These two guys are fullbacks. They're not just fullbacks in name only. They're fullbacks in type as well. Christopher Dean and Bill Cherry have both been fullbacks their entire SFL career. They both line up as halfbacks, sort of, in this offense where they get the ball as being, how they get it handed to them, but they run like fullbacks, and they're not very flashy, but sometimes they are both very effective. Both average 5 yards per carry on the season, and Dean is pile-driven from behind by Geno McFly after a gain of 3.
Well, Motor City's investment in the offensive line, which was evident this past offseason with that number 3 pick with John Smith, they I guess believe in the system. They want to say, hey, we don't need flashy backs. We need to get an offensive line in here to create space for these backs. And it's kind of working. It's a very interesting system.
I think interesting is really the only way that I can sum it up. Here's Cherry. Hop step for Cherry, gets to the 50-yard line. I do want to correct myself. Zach Haldorf, San Diego expert, is reminding me that Bill Cherry was a tight end earlier in his career, so my mistake there. But neither of them are running backs is really the point that I was trying to make. They're not traditional ball carriers. Cherry has been very effective in multiple ways. He was a fullback when he came into the league in the minors, but he has never been a running back. And they try to use him a little bit more like a halfback in this offense. Here's Kaufman, who has also been used as a running back to no effect at all. Charleston has been ready every single time for that play. Mark Martin with the hit that time.
I think that's maybe 4 or 5 carries for Shane Kaufman. Not a single first down by my notes on those carries. They're going for it.
My notes look like yours, and has not worked. Phil Koss will flex out wide, and yes, Motor City will bring the offense back out here on 4th down. Here's a run. Christopher Dean, just barely enough. First down, Motor City. Jack Brown on the hit.
Well, these are the exact scenarios where if you've got 2 fullbacks on your roster, this is where it comes in handy. You're investing in offensive line. You've got 2 fullbacks. You got to get those short yardage situations. And Christopher Dean gets the first.
Motor City was just 1 of 3 on 4th down attempts all season prior to that. Many thanks to Mike Daggs and Mark Lopez for putting all that information right at our fingertips, unlike anything I've seen before. Certainly in this league and in many other places. It's awesome. Fake handoff by Brown. That was pretty well done, but unfortunately for him, Charleston was ready for it, and the tackle made by Robert Cherry.
But he's going to have those tools in his toolkit to succeed in this offense. It's a very strange offense. It's a lot of weird stuff to ask of your quarterback, and he's expanding. I'll say that.
That was Robert Cherry on Bill Cherry, by the way. Here's Bill Cherry once again, and Bill Cherry with a little bit more that time. Sam Blotner with the hits. He was all over the place last week for the Preds, too.
Yeah, Blotner was outstanding last week, coming up with a bunch of really big tackles for this team. And now that Motor City's trying to run a lot, I think these linebackers and D linemen are going to get more involved.
Head coach Jacob Clear sung his praises on the Ashley Jackson Monday Night Interview show, talking about how instrumental he was in Charleston's win over the Revs last week. Jacob sure knows a thing or two about good defensive back play in this league. 3rd and 5 for Motor City. Brown drops back. Brown throws on target, in stride. First down and a touchdown. Motor City has the lead on the catch and run by Julian Gusters.
I did not have a Julian Gusters barn burner on my bingo card. This offense had not really gotten that many players involved. Gusters just runs a great route. That was a great ball out to the outside, pretty much only where Gusters could get it. And he turned on the jets. Whatever jets a tight end Julian Gusters had, he used them all in that play. Charleston couldn't catch him. surprising lead here for Motor City.
Guster's caught his second win after all of that and flies 43 yards into the end zone. PAT is up and good from Caleb Richards. 14 straight points for Motor City after it looked like Charleston had the chance to walk this game after their first 2 possessions. They've done nothing since, and the V8s are off and running and up by 4.
I just want to let you know I saw what you did there with the second win, Gusters. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you appreciating it. Decent kickoff. Roll, they'll try to return it into the end zone. That is Ricky Spider, the rookie, as a flag comes out. This will be our first penalty flag of the game. This could be important. Clipping?
That's a clipping
on the receiving
call.
team.
Block in the back.
Block in the back.
There's a reason Spider got some decent yards on that return. It looks like someone blocked in the back, and they're going to have to start on their own 14 for Lakeman in this offense.
That was a tough break. Cameron Irvine, by the way, just before that last play, sent us a message saying there have not been any plays of greater than 20 yards in the ball game tonight. I was about to say, well, that doesn't really matter. More on that in a second. Lakeman's pass is caught on a diving catch as he falls down by Brian Murphy, who has made 3 incredible catches in this game.
Brian Murphy looking like Max Payne on this play. Diving backwards, bullet time, caught right in the breadbasket. That's a great catch by Brian Murphy. He might get the game ball if Charleston ends up getting this dub.
3 catches for 49 yards, not bad. Hashtag throw it to the tight end. All of his catches have gone for double digits. I was just about to say, it doesn't matter if we haven't had any plays of 20-plus yards because Charleston is at a half dozen of 15 or so as Lakeman links up with Davius Reed for a gain of 9. That was going to be my retort to the commission. I should know better than to try to one-up him because immediately after I read that message that he sent is when Brown linked up with Julian Gusters for a 43-yard touchdown. So not only has there now been a play of at least 20 yards, there's been a play of twice that, and Motor City has the lead. Crazy how things can flip. Here's a toss to Hoagland, and Hoagland is going to be stopped short. Well, there have been a lot of generous spots in the SFL this season, John, and Charleston was hoping for one there. They didn't get it.
They did not get that. Yeah, no, you're right. That was an interesting spot. We'll see what they dial up here on 3rd and inches. Just give it to Hoagland, but we'll see if they mix it up.
Charleston has not been very good on 3rd down conversions this season. Just about 53%, bottom 5 in the league. So much for that. Hoagland's got the first down with relative ease, thrown down afterwards by Kane Vasquez.
Everybody knew what was coming, but it didn't matter. It was everyone stuck to their blocking assignment. They sprung. Great block there by Terrell Sutherland there to spring Hoagland. Good run. Just a nice balanced offense that that Charleston's been calling tonight.
Look, you get a look at Hoagland's numbers there at the bottom of your screen. Those are fullback numbers, if you ask me, for the former fullback, but he's done it extremely well. Now, obviously, 19 carries is a ton for a fullback, but I'm just talking about how they've used him, his effectiveness, the type of runs that they've been employing. That's just kind of his approach, or their approach with him as the lead back, and so far, so decent for him. Hoagland again. And another solid game, this time for Hoagland. David Leathers on the hit and a gain of 4.
Yeah, they're not asking Hoagland for flash here. They're asking him for chunk yards. They're asking him to take some pressure off of Lakeman in 2nd and 3rd down situations. And that's exactly what he's doing. And it's a good game plan that, again, like you said, works for a traditional fullback like Hoagland has been.
I think you pointed it out earlier. They've kind of taken some of the pressure off of Lakeman ever since that interception, I feel. Strong toss to the top for Hoagland. Hoagland gets past Halford, and Nick Hoagland with the first down. Leathers with the hit at the 36. Strong running, a halfback style play with a fullback style finish.
Yeah, that was just an outstanding stiff arm there. Hoagland saying, listen, you can take that interception. You can have a couple passes defended, but you're not going to take me down on this play. No, sir.
76 yards now rushing for Nick Hoagland. Top 25 in the league and everything, but not really a high mark for anybody on this Charleston team. It's really been a back by committee this season. Hoagland has been pretty much the only back we've seen tonight, though. A gain of 6 on first down.
Yeah, they mixed it up a lot more with Saren Storm last week, and we're not seeing Saren in this game a whole lot. But when Hoagland's getting these chunk yards and taking pressure off of Lakeman and moving the chains, you don't need to change it up.
This is one of the most effective and most efficient passing teams in the league, but not on this drive necessarily, and they might have to change that because Hoagland just got stonewalled. Tackled for a loss for the first time on this possession by King Rashid.
Yeah, it was a great tackle by King Rashid, who is just so good at getting into the backfield on run plays like that. Now, John Lakeman's going to have to pass, find one of his receivers, find that tight end. See what they dial up here.
And has been such a diverse offense so far in this game. Haven't seen too much of the pass attack, though, here in the second half. They're going to need to dial it up. They move Storm out wide. Lakeman under pressure. Evades, fires back across his body, and has Murphy in stride. That's not the biggest highlight reel catch that he's had in this game, but it might well be the most important first and goal for the Preds coming up.
That was a big gainer, and wow, what a pass by John Lakeman. He got just enough air on this ball, really dropped it in where Murphy could get it. Look at that, just slinging it right there at the 5-yard line. Murphy is having an absolute monster game and helping his kind of struggling quarterback just find his rhythm here.
29 yards on the pitch and catch from Lakeman to Murphy. Longest play from scrimmage for the Preds. First and goal, Charleston now from the 3-yard line. Offset eye, Reed in motion. All alone at the bottom of the screen now. Rashid will shadow. Play clock at 3. Here's the give. Hoagland, and Hoagland is pushed back for a loss. He really ran into his offensive lineman, DeBrickashaw Molyneux on that one. Second down.
Yeah, that just kind of got blown up at the line by Rodney Panani there, and nothing doing on that one. We'll see what they do on second and goal.
Haven't been too terribly many tackles for loss. We've got about 6 as a team now for Motor City against Hoagland and company. Strong toss. Hoagland all day this time, and Nick Hoagland puts Charleston back in front. His second score of the night.
I think that was such a smart call, too, because they've been running Hoagland up the middle the entire game. There's only been 1 or 2 tosses to the outside. They decided to go left with Hoagland here on that toss. Just had enough room. Would have only been good for maybe 5 yards in open field, but they only needed 4. Now Charleston's back on top.
Well, Charleston locker room calls him Hoagie, and that time Hoagie was able to outlast Panani and get in the end zone for 6 more. Funny how these things work out sometimes in this league.
They do. Now I'm just really hungry. I don't know about you.
You were talking about the Charleston area food earlier.
Yeah.
I haven't eaten yet. It's like that. We'll take that. I'll take anything at this point. 1-1-1 left in the third. Back and forth we go. I was about to say, did we expect anything different? But honestly, if you look at the all-time series, yes, you would expect something different. There's been hardly any close games ever between these two teams in their franchise history, but I don't think you can really utilize that franchise history because this is the first time they're playing in a long time. This is the 8th all-time meeting between these two franchises. There's another great return by Guy Clausen, by the way. There's my Harry Carey for the night. Charleston leads the all-time series 5-2, but this is their first meeting since season 18. For those scoring at home, this is season 21. They've met up twice in season 10, twice in season 11. Then they also played in season 12 and season 14, but then there was some time off there. They didn't play again until season 18. That was in April of 2022. So this is their first matchup in 18 months, and the first time that Charleston has faced the Motor City V8s. They were the St. Louis Gladiators back during the last time these two teams met up, as Browns pass off of the helmets of a receiver. Nearly had that hauled in, but it's second down.
Yeah, these games have not been close, like you mentioned, between St. Louis, who Motor City used to be called, and Charleston. I mean, we're talking huge blowouts, 42 points, 33 points. It's been a massive, massive disparity, so it's nice to have a close game here.
Absolutely. There's only been literally one close game in the 7 total meetings. That was a 5-point game, and that was also the only time that a road team has won in the all-time matchup. Home teams are 6-1 all-time in these two franchises' history. Brown zips it and over receiver once again. 10 yards past Shane Kaufman, who finally got a target more like what he's supposed to be in this offense, and even that didn't work.
Yeah, John Stamango is the only receiver in that area, and the problem for Michael Brown is he plays for Charleston, so that was almost a disaster. I don't know if there was a miscommunication there or what.
They'll empty out the backfield. None of those fullbacks on right now. Charleston rushes 5. Brown sets and throws. First down. Motor City. Azami Mahata has his first catch. And all of these tight ends have gotten involved here as this game is worn on. First down V8s.
Yeah, all 3 tight ends now have a catch at least. Julian Guskers obviously had that massive touchdown. Phil Costas had some super, super important catches, but now Mahata getting involved. That's his 12th catch of the season.
10 completions on the night for Brown. Only 2 of them have gone to wide receivers, 1 each for Terrazas and Clausen, though, of course, one of those was the touchdown by Noe Terrazas. Here's Christopher Dean. Runs outside for a gain of 6. This Motor City offense is so unique. It's so interesting. We've used that word. Again, I can't come up with any other words besides that. They're 10th in the league in passing yards, but they're 3rd in the league in rushing touchdowns. So when they get down into the red zone, they are lethal. As a matter of fact, they've gotten in the red zone 3rd most in the league, and they've scored 31 touchdowns, which is 2nd in the league. And they've done that twice in this game. 2 red zone opportunities, 2 touchdowns. Nothing doing there for Dean on the hit by Corey Menner. So when Motor City's offense works, it was actually Kaufman on that carry, my apologies. When Motor City's offense is working, they are tough to stop, but sometimes they get in their own way. Great game. Charleston up by 3 after 3. You're watching the SFL presented by APM Music live on YouTube.
The Simulation Football League is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or account of the game without the express written consent of the league office is prohibited.
That was Chris Curtis. He's John Warren. I'm Tim Hackett, filling in tonight for Mark Lopez. Hope you are doing well, sir. Ron Haynes, Zach Haldorf, and Cameron Irvine with us. 4th and final quarter of regulation. Charleston up by 3 after 3. And a rare close game between these 2 franchises, emblematic of how important this game is to both teams here in week 12. Michael Brown looking back to throw, slings it towards the sideline, and Shane Kaufman finally used the way that he would want to be. And Shane Kaufman with a first down catch, his first grab of the day. First down, Motor City.
Kaufman created so much space here on the sideline, got way behind his defender. Great play by Kaufman. Michael Brown, this offense is so unique. You've said it a bunch. I also cannot come up with a better word for it. You kind of lose the fact that Michael Brown has had a quietly outstanding night. 11 for 16, 164 yards, two touchdowns, no interceptions. He's looked outstanding. His QBR is way higher tonight than his average.
Brown will throw it here to Christopher Dean, and Dean is driven back down after a gain of 3 finally by Mark Martin. And this is coming off of that game last week against Florida. We mentioned it already, but 8 of 13 for 100 yards even, no touchdowns, 2 picks. That was what Brown did last week in what was a close game against the Storm for much of the time. 14-7 at half, 17-10 after the 3rd quarter, but the Storm outscored the V8s 13-0 in the 4th quarter and ended up winning by 20. 4th straight loss by 20-plus points for Motor City. Brown shakes off a sack, fires to the end zone, and has a touchdown! Unbelievable for Michael Brown. Noe Terrazas has his 2nd. Motor City is back in front. What a play.
Last week is the worst you'll see a rookie. This week might be the best you see a rookie. Look at this composure. The pressure up the middle, absolutely unfazed. Completely sheds that tackle. Slings it right in there to Noe Terrazas. What a touchdown. I'm really impressed by Michael Brown in this game. It's been up and down all season. Got that 2-quarterback system, which is a little wonky, but he's looking outstanding tonight. They should be pretty psyched about the future of this team under Michael Brown.
I think that was Geno McFly on the bull rush, the linebacker, but unfortunately for Charleston, Brown left McFly back to the future and then zipped a 22-yard pass to Noe Terrazas, their 2nd link up today, 3rd touchdown for Brown, and Motor City is back in front. This is insane.
Yeah, I wonder if he had the sports almanac handy to see what was going to happen on that one.
Yeah, great Scott indeed, and here comes the return from, I don't even have him on my roster. Charles. Yeah, Mr. Old Man Jenkins, I guess, for Charleston. That's not a normal returner for them, which is kind of interesting. And the Preds will now have to take back over from the 24. Well, we talked about the log jam that is this division now. Charleston comes into today at 4-5. They're fourth in the Atlantic at the start of the weekend, but all of the other results so far, that are the most immediate at least, those results have all gone their way. Charleston needs this result to go their way as well to keep pace with everybody else. John Lakeman into heavy traffic, and it ends up falling down harmlessly. Benjamin Warner was the target. Kane Vasquez in coverage, second down.
Yeah, Charleston ends up coming back and winning this game. They have a date with the Carolina Skyhawks next week. Two teams that would be 5-5 if that happens. Carolina losing last night to Canton. And that would be a tremendous game. Can't wait for that one if that happens.
Charleston's got Carolina and D.C. left on the schedule. It really doesn't get any better than that with how this Atlantic division is looking. Lakeman's pass off of the hands of Murphy that time. He has been perfect in this game, has Brian Murphy. That is a drop. He should have caught that one, really, which it's hard to blame him after the amazing game he's had, but
it's the easiest pass that he's gotten all night, I feel like, and he couldn't reel it in. And so it must be, you get the yips, right? If you're just standing out in the middle of a field, you don't expect it to be that easy. And he dropped the ball on that one.
Literally speaking, he's got to be thinking, if you hit me in my elbow, I would have caught it. Third down and 10. Lakeman rolls. Lakeman fires. That's tipped away again. 3 risky passes for Lakeman, and Motor City defense, they've been up to the task. Terrence Pearson with the breakup. Murphy was in the area. It's fourth down.
There's plenty of time left in this game. I don't really know why Charleston feels like they've got to force something right now. They've had some success with Hoagland. That seemed like an odd drive. They wanted to get something quick and fast, and now they got a punt.
Another 3 and out for this Preds offense. Again, I feel like a broken record at this point, but this offense looked great. It's not a flashy offense. It's never really been in their franchise history. They've had some great running backs. They've had some very good teams, but I think elite offenses in the SFL, I don't think of Charleston, and that's not even a criticism. It's just not everybody can have an elite offense, and they have not had an elite offense this season, but they look great over their first 2 possessions. And since those 2 possessions, punt, pick, punts, they did have that touchdown by Nick Hoagland, and now another 3 and out for Charleston. And Motor City could seize command if they do something good on this drive. They'll start from the 35. More good field position. Brown, center cut, first down. Nice throw, and Terrazas with another crucial catch.
Michael Brown had so much time. What a clean pocket. Gave Noah Terrazas enough time to get open there. Good pass underneath. If that was not a well-placed ball, Corey Minor would have had a shot at it. But, man, Michael Brown's playing really, really, really good football right now.
One other game in action on the SFL network right now. You can find that on our YouTube page. Fort Worth against Portland with Jacob Clear and Rochelle Colston. It's all Toros in that game right now. This game about as even as you could possibly get as Christopher Dean gets a gain of maybe 1. Jack Brown on the hit. Let's just sum it up for Charleston. If they win, they go to 5-5. DC lost earlier tonight. Carolina lost yesterday. All 3 of those teams would be 5-5. If Charleston were to win, it would be a 3-way tie for second place in the Atlantic, and everything would be wide open. As Brown flings it out to Dean, he gets to the 40-yard line and no further. But as we mentioned in passing earlier, John, a loss doesn't mathematically eliminate either of these 2 teams, but with only a couple of games left, or 1 game left after tonight for Motor City, a loss would really, really make things difficult.
Yeah, I mean, a loss would make things incredibly difficult for Motor City. It's a little more complicated for Charleston, but
they're down in 5. Brown's pass out of the hands of his target. Great hit by John Stamango. We've talked a lot about him in this game. Gusters was the target. He had that touchdown earlier. It's 4th down.
Yeah, Gusters couldn't reel it in. Yeah, just to follow up on the records, it's interesting. Charleston, again, a vexing team. Except for Portland, they've got the highest strength of victory out of any team that's currently in the hunt for a playoff spot.
Motor City's going to punt it from the opposing 40-yard line, so that time the good field position comes to nothing. and it'll be a net of about 25 as Spider makes the fair catch at the 16. I don't think I've done any of these ad reads yet. This game has been that good, so let's just pick one. End your day of football with the SFL tomorrow night on tap. A must-win tussle in the Central between Sioux Falls and Tulsa, and Arizona tries to stay hot against division rival Denver. It's never too early to check out next week's games. Head over to simulationfl.net to plan your next football weekend. Cameron Irvine's going to kick me off these broadcasts if I never get these ad reads in. We got 4 of the Retroid reads in, so they're happy. Here's Saren Storm. Saren Storm with a hop, skip, and a jump, and a first down. His best run of the night. He had 14 rushing yards prior to that. Give him 11, and a first down for the Preds.
Yeah, that might be the spark the Preds need to get something going here. Agile running. That was, what 3 hurdles? That's incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible little run for Saren Storm there.
It's officially a storm warning for Charleston. Yeah, I'm sorry. I think everybody has used that in Saren's SFL career, so I can only apologize. 12 yards officially on that carry from the 28-yard line. Shifts at the line, and Charleston will send Romeo June, rookie tight end, who has just 1 catch on the season, in motion from right to left. Preds trailing for the second time. Here's Nick Hoagland. And Hoagland runs into, any surprise? Matthew Halford, gain of 5.
Holford there for the stop, and not before Hoagland got a decent gain there, about 5 yards. Sets Charleston up for a manageable second down.
Hoagland only about 3 1/3 yards per carry, which is lower than his season average. But
It's been what they've needed, though, tonight, I feel
no
like.
doubt. And 2 rushing touchdowns, which has certainly helped. Halford can't bring him down that time. A rare miss for Halford, and Hoagland still going. Finally brought down by King Rashid after the end of a great run by Nick Hoagland.
Matthew Holford's going to mistake Hoagland's hand for a hoagie if he's not careful. That's his second big stiff arm of the game. That's gone right into Holford's face. That's a great run from Hoagland. Hoagland and Holford sounds like a law firm I don't think I want to ever have to call.
Well, I saw a 7. I assumed it was King Rashid. I'm not sure how I conflated King Rashid with Dakota Butts, but I did. It was Butts on the tackle, sending Hoagland down to his. And what a throw!
What a catch.
Lakeman, that's more like it. And Benjamin Warner, the former Chicago Wildcat, with a first down.
Yeah, what a snatch by Benjamin Warner. That was a really tough catch, but he hauled it in. It was good defense there in the middle. I mean, it just put it, Mark Hoffman was right there. David Leathers right there. It didn't matter. Warner reeled it in and moves the sticks.
And Zach Haldorf beat me to it in our conversation. I was just about to say it. It was Nick Warner on the hit against Benjamin Warner. No relation, Warner versus Warner. The Warner brothers, if you will, with this feature film. Gain of 3 for Hoagland. So we've seen Warner versus Warner. We've seen Cherry versus Cherry in this game. And Motor City versus Charleston. Again, this is the first time that they've matched up under these 2 iterations. The last time was St. Louis versus Charleston. Every other time was Indianapolis in one version or another versus Charleston, or versus St. Louis, excuse me. And the first matchup between Motor City and Charleston has been about as good as you can get. Lakeman's throw, another one-handed catch, and Romeo June does have his second grab of his career. What a catch that was.
And yeah, that's worth celebrating. Reels that in with another one-handed catch. I think that's the 4th or 5th of the night for this team. That is incredible. That's probably that might be his best catch of the season if, we have 2 to choose from.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the Nice Hands catch brought to you by Retroid. Same as it ever was. We're stuck on repeats. And we'll take that with all those amazing catches. I've never seen anything. We've seen, like you said, 5 of those in this game? Sometimes you don't go a month without seeing those across every game. Lakeman's pass, and that is somehow scissored in there to Benjamin Warner for a gain of 9.
It's a good time for Warner to heat up. I mean, this is do or die. They're in good position here in the red zone. Warner is really Lakeman's most reliable target down the stretch, especially in the red zone.
Charleston has really been moving the ball on this possession. This is like how they started the game. Hoagland's inside the 10-yard line. Vasquez on the hits. Everything working for the Preds, pass and run.
Yeah, I mean, this just looks like a totally balanced, totally comfortable Charleston offense. You're exactly right. It looks like they did in that first drive where it just looked like, wow, if Charleston puts this together consistently, they're not looking at 4-5 record. They're looking more, 7-2 if they can put stuff together like this. But it's just been inconsistent all year.
Admittedly, Motor City has had a leaky defense on the balance of the season, but Charleston has looked good. Hoagland looking for the hat trick, and Hoagland pushed a yard short. Touchdown saving tackle and a lead preserving tackle for Motor City's David Leathers.
But Hoagland's putting him on the brink here. He's got 114 yards on the ground now on 30 carries. See if they can pound it in.
It's got to be Hoagland territory again, hasn't
Gotta
it?
be. It's gotta be.
He's already scored twice. They're going to move Sutherland out, though.
Interesting.
In motion. Strong toss. Hoagland untouched. Touchdown, Charleston.
Yeah, well, they moved Terrell Sutherland out there so he could spring that entire toss. That was perfect play call. That's the second time they've gone left for Hoagland in the red zone near the goal line. It worked a couple of drives ago, and it worked again beautifully. Sutherland with a great block there. Hoagland's got 3 touchdowns, and Charleston's back on top.
Well, before this season, Nick Hoagland was almost exclusively a fullback in his career. Before this season, he had 3 total rushing touchdowns. Tonight alone, he's got 3 total rushing touchdowns to bring his season total up to 13, career total up to 16. Pivotal PAT, good from Brad Breckett, and Charleston now is up by 3.
Well, this has been a back-and-forth game, partner.
It does not get much better than this in the SFL, John. I mean, you got to see a great game last week. It was exciting. I watched the whole second half, but look, man, it does not get much better than this.
This is going down to the wire. We'll see if Michael Brown continues his outstanding game.
Another good potential return here for Motor City. So much for the potential. It's a reality. Johan Sutherland up the left sideline near midfield. Motor City has had brilliant field position all day and now trailing by 3 once again. Can they take advantage?
Charlton's special team defense is going to be on extra laps this week. They've given up a couple of huge returns that have put Motor City in outstanding field position. Like you've said, they're great at field position. That's been one of their big strengths for Motor City all year, and Charleston has been on the losing side of that battle tonight.
Well, Motor City leads the league in kick return yards, and yes, part of that is because they give up a lot of points, so yeah, they have a lot of field kicks. That is true, but they do have a good kick return average and great starting field position, like we said, on top of leading the league in total yards. Christopher Dean with the carry. Christopher Dean with space and out inside enemy territory on one play, and even more so. What a run for Christopher Dean. He had just 37 yards prior to that.
Yeah, I do not think Charleston expected this. I think they expected Michael Brown to start tossing passes downfield like he has the past couple drives. And wow, Christopher Dean with an outstanding run. His best carry of the night for sure. And puts them in great position to spend the last 3 minutes of this game.
22-yard tote for Dean. You see his numbers officially. Motor City had only about 40 rushing yards prior to that. And Dean gets him all the way to the 32-yard line. Striking distance for this great red zone team. There's a weird play and a handoff to somebody we weren't expecting. And somehow that gets a gain of about 1 after all of that for Motor City.
Well, they wanted, they've been handing it off to Shane Kaufman, who's a wide receiver. They decided to hand it off to the Peanuts guy, I guess. It was came down from the field and said, hey, let's hand it off. Let's see what I can do.
And it's worked about as well as the Kaufman carry. To be honest, a gain of 1. And there's Shane Kaufman with a catch. Shane Kaufman score! Get him out of the backfield and get him into the end zone. Motor City back in front. This game is insane.
This is an amazing game. I mean, what can you say? Like, this is where you should be putting Shane Kaufman. He's got to get open. He's got to be running in open space. He's faster than a lot of these defenders. He got behind Blotner there, trotted into the end zone. What a drive. Quick strike. Might have given Charleston a little bit too much time here. Lakeman's got over 2 minutes. He's got the 2-minute warning. He's got all 3 timeouts. There's a lot of time for Charleston to go back, but what a drive from Motor City.
Smoked Sam Blotner en route to a 31-yard touchdown, 4th passing score of the day for Michael Brown, a week removed from a game where he completed just 8 passes for 100 yards. He's thrown 4 touchdowns, 73% completion. He's been brilliant. Kaufman with his 2nd catch for 52 yards and his 3rd touchdown of the season. Motor City has been brilliant. They weren't quite in the red zone that time, but every time they've actually gotten deep into Charleston territory, they have taken advantage. They've been around midfield a few times and didn't do anything, but since they actually get deep into enemy territory, they have taken full advantage. This team is lethal when given the opportunity, but like we said earlier on in the game, John, it feels as if they kind of shoot themselves in the foot sometimes. That's just me anecdotally. I don't have a ton of data to back that up, but again, when they've been good, they've been great.
Yeah, I mean, that's the vexing part of this team. It's like sometimes they just look so with it. Everything is clicking, and sometimes it just looks super scattered, super confused, super tight, which is not what you want, especially in the playoffs if they are lucky enough to make it there.
We have combined for 7 possessions in the second half, touchdowns scored on 5 of them. And Charleston's going to need to do that again here as we approach the 2-minute warning. Charleston's going to need to make that another touchdown on a possession in the second half. Otherwise, this game is over.
And we'll see if they try to even get a play off before the 2-minute warning. Looks like they will not, and just be content to take that 2-minute warning, regroup, and figure out what they want to run next.
Charleston trailing again after it looked like they could be in command. Motor City up by 4 with 2 minutes left. This is the SFL presented by APM Music on YouTube. What a game so far. Alongside John Warren, I'm Tim Hackett, Ron Cameron Irvine with us. Thank you for joining us wherever you're joining us from. 2-minute warning from South Carolina. An almost must-win game for 2 4-win teams. And Charleston now trailing by 4. John Lakeman's pass a little bit low, but it is hauled in by Davius Reed. 3rd down and short.
You know, Brian Murphy had those 4 incredible catches earlier in the game. Then he had a drop a couple of drives ago. They have not gone back to Brian Murphy since that drop. And it'd be interesting to see if they try to get him involved on this crucial drive.
Lakeman has spread it out. He's hit 5 different targets. All of them have catches of 15 yards or more. Hoagland, stiff arm. Hoagland, 1st down across midfield. Another stiff arm, but Motor City able to make the tackle and stop Hoagland's momentum. But a big run for Hoagland, who's now way over the century mark tonight.
Yeah, and I think that's such a smart play call. It's like you could easily go pass on that. They needed the 1st down. They just needed to move to 6. They've got plenty of time. They don't need to be in a super rush. Although we're looking at almost a minute left, this team is looking cool, calm, and collected in a way that I'm not expecting. Lakeman's look a little shaken tonight, but he's looking okay right now.
It's been a running back committee for much of the season, yes, but Hoagland averages 73 yards per game. He's up close to 130 tonight, almost twice his season average. Exactly 1 minute left. Charleston taking its time now. Here's Hoagland. Outside, Nick Hoagland across the 40-yard line down to the 37, and there is finally the timeout from Charleston, their first of the game.
God, Motor City has averaged 11 yards per play in the 4th quarter. That's really been the difference maker. Charleston, they have to respond to that, and it's been an interesting second half.
Charleston's defense has been terrible in red zone opportunities this season. They've allowed opponents to score, not touchdowns, but they have scored points every single time that opponents have gotten into the red zone this season, and Motor City keeps that trend alive tonight. Lakeman's pass is caught right at the 30-yard line by the ageless wonder, Davius Reed. Crucial catch.
What a catch. This was maybe his most impressive catch of the game. It wasn't that flashy, but in that kind of traffic, in this kind of scenario, Davius Reed, that's exactly who you want to be looking at.
Modified hurry up. Hoagland gets out to maybe the 24-yard line. That is where they will spot him. Somehow Hoagland with a quick gain of 6, but that will force the Preds to use their 2nd timeout.
I mean, I was talking about how collected they looked a few plays ago, and now I'm looking at the time going, ooh, I don't know how much time they really got to mess around with handoffs and cute plays here. They've got to get 25 yards and score here.
Not a lot of time left, and remember they are down by 4, so you need a touchdown. 1 timeout left in a near must-win game for both teams. Empty backfield for a team that's run the ball very well tonight. From the 25, Lakeman into the body of his targets, and great defense across the board by Motor City. That's Pearson ultimately on the stop.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy is a pretty good coach, but I'm not sure I'd be looking to him for clock management advice. It kind of looks like that's what Charleston's been doing on this drive. But 3rd and 4, 25 seconds, 25 yards away. They're not in the worst shape.
Cameron and Irvine and I both agree with you wholeheartedly on that one, by the way. 1 in the backfield and 4 wides now for Lakeman on 3rd and 4. 25 seconds left. It's Storm in the backfield. He gets tied up. Lakeman's pass is somehow caught at his feet by Honus Adobe. Another brilliant catch by a Pred, and it's 1st down.
That is a ridiculous catch from Honus Adobe. I mean, John Lakeman, he's going to have to dig deep, buy these guys watches, maybe a car, at least a nice dinner. These receivers have been bailing him out with amazing catches all game.
1st and goal from the 9. 3rd catch tonight for Adobe. Number 9, Lakeman, end zone. It's caught! A killer game for Brian Murphy. Culminates in a score, and Charleston is back on top with 17 seconds left.
We said it at the top of this drive. Brian Murphy had not really been given a ton of attention since that crucial drop a few drives ago. When it mattered the most, John Lakeman said, hey, my tight end, I'm going to trust you with this catch, this touchdown, taking the lead, 17 seconds left. What a drive that John Lakeman put together for this Charleston Preds.
Team high 5th touchdown catch this season for Murphy. Lakeman has not thrown many scores so far this season. That is just his 1st tonight, his 12th total in game number 10 for Charleston, but it comes with 17 seconds left, and that puts the Preds back on top in what has been a truly epic game. Chance for Motor City still. Remember, they have great kick returners, and we've already seen that, but a deep kick from Breckett, and no chance for Sutherland to return that one. He's had a great... We saw Clausen whip off a great return on the 1st try that Motor City had tonight, but no chance at a return because of that kick from the league veteran, Brad Breckett.
Breckett waited till a perfect moment to boom one deep, not giving them even a remote chance to return that one.
Motor City will have to start from the 20-yard line. Can this offense pull off what would be an incredible rally? 1 second came off the clock as well. The V8s have all 3 timeouts. A team in a total tailspin trying to shake off a 4-game losing skid. Brown to Phil Koss. That'll help all the way out to the 38-yard line on 1 play.
Phil Koss has been such a security blanket for Michael Brown here, and I think that's the 4th or 5th ball he's caught in the middle specifically. He hasn't dropped one today. I mean, he's just been on target to Koss. What a great start to this drive. 10 seconds, though.
Such a great weapon for this franchise since he joined the team after a standout minor league career and a minor league championship. Brown swatted away, going off again. Great coverage by John Stamengo. Those 2 guys have been in the league for a very long time, and they duel out here for just the 2nd time. Great stop.
We called Semengo's name a couple times on some crucial tackles, and now on a pass deflection that might have been a game saver for them.
Agreed. Only 6 seconds left. Ball inside the 38-yard line. Just a 3-point deficit, but a lot of field to go. Deep drop for Brown. Deep throw from Brown. In stride.
No way!
With a second left. Are you kidding me?
Unbelievable play from Michael Brown. The prevent defense hung back too far. They let there be enough room for that catch to materialize, and now a 50-yard attempt to maybe send this into overtime. What a play.
3rd season kicker, Caleb Richards, just 91% in his SFL career from 50 yards to tie it.
Oh!
No! It's just short. Richards has missed his 2nd tonight, and Motor City that close to a miraculous rally. It will be Charleston with the win to keep their playoff hopes alive, and it is literally that close for the V8s.
That is heartbreaker for Michael Brown and this V8's team. They looked like they could have pulled this one out at a few different junctures. Michael Brown should be happy and proud. This Motor City team should be happy about Michael Brown's progression. That's what they should take away from this. But what a heartbreaking loss for them. Charleston hanging on to get that incredible win that they needed.
About as epic of a game as you will find in this league or any. Charleston has now won 4 out of its last 5. Motor City has now lost 5 straight. They are 4-7. Playoffs almost pretty much a foregone conclusion that it won't happen for Motor City in year 3 of the franchise. But Charleston has continued its late season surge, John. Again, 4 wins out of their last 5. Another impressive, gutsy win at the end of the day for Charleston. Their playoff hopes are alive. It is now a 3-way tie at 5-5 with Charleston, Carolina, and DC in the Atlantic Division.
Yeah, Charleston getting hot when they needed to. They won 4 of their last 5. Their only loss in that stretch coming to the very good Baltimore Vultures. So they should be feeling pretty good. I'd be a little bit worried about Lakeman's consistency in the passing game. But besides that, this defense looked pretty good tonight. This run game looked pretty good tonight. Those receivers were balling out for Lakeman. Charleston's got to feel pretty good about this win. Closer than they wanted it to be, but it was against a Motor City V8's team that had to have it, and Charleston pulled it out.
Everything is up for grabs in the Atlantic with only 2 game weeks left to go. Charleston with a 3-point win to very much stay alive in the postseason push. That's going to do it for us here tonight after an absolutely epic game. Charleston defeats Motor City 31-28. For Ron Haynes, Zach Holdorf, Cameron Irvine, and my partner John Warren, once again, thank you for being part of the team, sir. Great job. Happy to have you on this crew. I'm Tim Hackett. We'll see you next time. Until then, so long. Plenty more SFL action coming your way tomorrow right here on YouTube. We'll see you then.